morning, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. Today we are going to be talking about assessments. I would like it if those who are on the call would answer the two poll questions that are on that front screen before we move on. And then we can move to our actual presentation screen. All righty, looks like we've got everybody answered. So we're going to go on to our next screen. And today our presentation is on assessment tools that we can use to help customers reach their goals. Just a couple of things. If you've got a question or if something's going on and you need me to talk slower or faster, or you can raise your hand with the little man at the top of the screen. Again, if you have a challenge, you can dial into our call. Please put your computer speakers on mute if you do dial in. Otherwise, if they do start working again, you'll hear an echo. There's a whole pile of documents down in the download and print section. So if we start talking about things, you can go there and download each of those items. Most of them are PowerPoint presentations or PDF documents. If you do have a question, please feel free to type it into the chat pod as long as it has relevant significance to our presentation today. All right, so we're going to talk about assessment tools in helping customers reach their goals. Now, I've heard before, and you probably have too, if you do what you love, you really don't have to go to work every day. You still go someplace and you still get a paycheck, but it's what you love to do. And making sure that you find out what that actually is makes a huge difference. You can be thrown into something and it's just a means to an end. It's just a way to get a paycheck. But if you work with your customers and you find that right fit for them, then they're able to go to a place where they might never have gone before, in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, that was just a little joke there. But you do that by asking them questions, doing some assessments, performing some evaluations, and then having a conversation focused around what you found out in all of those items. And Illinois WorkNet has some great tools that are available for you to use, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how you can cover those first three items in that bulleted list to get those questions and assessments and evaluations. And then you guys need to have the conversation with the person so that they get the right fit. So we've got lots of tools, and this is just a few of them on the screen. We've got, and we're going to talk about each of them and how you as a workforce professional can use these items with your customers. So I don't want to dwell on this slide too long because we've got more of it coming up. The Customer Support Center, now we did have a webinar in March about Customer Support Center and the customer groups. And I noticed that a couple of you had been to and attended that webinar, or we do record these and post them, so you may have been able to watch the recording. If you didn't, it is available to you, and we will make sure that we include that in the news item follow-up with this webinar news item. But we do have customer groups. There's general invitation groups that you can invite all of your customers to. We have IWDS access. Those are for our WIOA workforce partners. And then we have special programs like EPIC, or a couple of years ago we had an ADAM program. So those special programs have special access in some cases, but in most cases everything looks like everything else, and we just are going to go over those specific pieces in a little bit greater detail today. One of the things about the Customer Support Center is you can reset a customer's password, which is a lifesaver in many cases. They may have had an account for years and hadn't logged into it, but now all of a sudden they need to. So you can reset that password for them. You can review customer information, all of these assessments that are listed. This is what we're going to dive into a little bit deeper today, and then items from the resume builder. And you can also send customers messages, and that is going to show up in their Illinois WorkNet account. So you don't have to worry about something going through email. It's just from account to account. We have assessments that are either self-accessed or some of them do have to be proctored. And as a WorkNet partner, you have free access to all of these assessments, and they can help you identify the strengths, their interests, values, what customers might have as transferable skills, or the personal priorities that they have for employment. Do they want to work at night? Do they like working by themselves? Different things like that. You have access to all of this. You have access through a guide for directions. We're going to show you those items as well. And then you can see the information within each of these areas on their personal dashboard. Now, first of all, we do have a skills and interests surveys that customers can take. There's 4 different tests that they can take, and then you see one of the results on the screen where it shows by the answers that they put in those questions. They're real short questions. Yes or no, I like it or I don't like it sort of thing. They show up in order of where their interests lie. This, coupled with the other 3 tests that are there, end up giving you results that you can see from your dashboard. So I just put these screens in here to show you where you can access it. So you're looking here at first, you're logging into your account. Then you go to Customer Groups under Partner Tools. You get to the group page. Then you click on a particular customer. And then once you're in that customer information, you get to see where all of these assessments are. For the Skills and Interest Survey, it shows up in this first top tab, and if you click on the View Interests, it actually will take you to the customer's profile information on the Career Information System. You can review the different results. There's 3 areas that they can access: the career survey, the career cluster inventory, the interest profiler, and then the work importance locator. It gives you a number of documents that you can read, compare, contrast, talk about with the customer, and then direct them to a particular pathway, one of the 16 that we have on Illinois WorkNet. That gives you the ability, after you've taken those interest surveys, that gives you the ability to dive deeper into one of these pathways, find a couple of positions, and then find out some more detailed information about jobs, facts, and wages, skills and training, information about the job, including wages across the state of Illinois. This is something that you can work cooperatively with your customers to find out that information and have them work toward finding what it is that they want to do moving forward. This is also included as part of the Employment 101 guide. Now, Employment 101 can be self-guided or it can be instructor-guided. The whole goal here is to help the customer find out what they need to prepare better for a new job coming up. And as you look at this screen, you have a pre-test. You can complete the guide, which shows you your progress here, and then you can take a post-test, download a certificate. One of the things that we have available through the guide, and if you notice on our screen right here, we have the results of the pre-assessment test in the customer's profile, the post-assessment test, along with your ability to access their guide plans just by clicking on this little button right here. In our partner guide, we have instructor resources that are available to you for a career plan and for a job search plan that show you each lesson has directions for you to guide that customer through the appropriate pathways to help them discover the right items for them. There's, I believe, and don't quote me, but these guides are in the file pod in the lower left-hand corner. I believe there's 16 lessons in one of the units and 7 or 8 in the other unit. I'm not exactly accurate on that one, but they are available in the file pod in the lower left corner, so please make sure that you either access it on the partner page or download it from the file pod here. NOCTI is a test that can help you help your customer determine what their workplace skills and abilities are. Now, a tape test can help the customer, can help you understand the customer's level of reading, math, and comprehension. But the NOCTI helps you determine a number of other skills. So interpersonal skills, technology systems thinking, how do they use information, how's their judgment. All of those workplace skills and effective relationships all show up in the NOCTI. You get a score based on the test that you take, and it is broken down into the reading skills, it does a little bit of that, some math skills, some writing skills, and then the last sections of the test that are graded are all related to workplace skills that employers find quite valuable. If there are areas on here that are lacking in number, you can always suggest a little bit more work or some workshops that you can help your customers guide them to so that they will be successful on their job. We suggest that you give them this test as a baseline at the beginning of their program. This is a 3-hour test, and it does need to be proctored. But you can break it out into 3 one-hour sections, or you can do it 2 1.5-hour sections, or 1 3-hour session. So let's take a little break here and fill out one of our surveys. How many of these tools have you used with your customers? And you can click all that are apply. Looks like we've got a couple of people that have used a number of these things. So that's good. Thank you for answering. We're going to go back to the presentation here. Next on our agenda is the observational evaluation. This is a wonderful tool for you to be able to use with your customers during seat time, basically to help you ascertain whether or not the customer is ready for worksite experience, like WEX, I think people call it a lot, work experience jobs, where it's supplemented supplemented employment pay. These things are all geared to workplace skills. And as you can see, we have a rubric that gives you below standards, meet standards, or exceed standards. By the questions that are asked about the participant, you get a gauge here that says yes or no, and then ranks them 1, 2, or 3. If they are not a 3, it gives you what the standard that they are at actually reads. So this is a good tool. You can do this periodically. You can add additional assessments to their list, and those assessments show up over in your list of items. So you could have 4 or 5 or 6 in here because somebody might be working through some particular issues. The next piece is the Worksite Evaluation. It's very, very close. It's closely related to the Observational Evaluation. This is actually filled out by the worksite or by you on behalf of the worksite. In this screen, you can see the actual listing of items that would get filled out. So you can see how you would rank an item by clicking the dot. And you can barely see the little black dots in front of the numbers that were selected here. Excuse me. Based on those numbers, you can see it either shows up green, red, or yellow in the results page. I would recommend that this be done after the first 30 days on a work experience job, then at 60 days, and then at 90 days if they're staying there. If nothing else, at least after the first week and then at the end of their experience, so that if there is something that the customer needs to brush up on, then you can calm that out. You can put them through another workshop. You can do something with that customer to help them overcome that small little barrier that could become a barrier to employment. Those two pieces are very useful. You can also add other assessments. So in this situation, I pulled up what the other assessment information options are. You can enter, mainly this is used for a TABE test. So it would be a basic skills assessment. You would pick adult basic education or possibly ESL. Then you would select based on the selection that you did make, whether it was language, math, reading, or writing. You enter what the test was, and then you enter the grade levels, the scale score, different information. How was it presented? Was it self-guided? Was it proctored? Was it written? Did they have whatever, one of those 6 options at the bottom? Once you have that information entered, it shows up in this bottom piece right down here, and you can put in, for example, we're suggesting to the people that are using this in our EPIC program that they enter an initial test, and then if they needed to improve a score, they can enter it with the reason significant improvement shown or measurable skills attainment gained. So that's a good way to track those assessments with those customers. Next on our list, we have things to help customers be prepared for the job market. We have a job skills guide, we have a resume writing guide, we have a digital literacy guide. All of these guides are available. The one piece that we like a whole lot is the resume writing guide, and it gives you some tips and tricks about how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter, all of those different items. We've got some very talented writers that work with us. They write information for us and help us keep up to date on articles. I happen to write a couple of them, but I don't write the bulk of them. So we have the skill there to help us stay up to date with the current information. But our tool that we have is the Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder tool. And as you can see from a brief screenshot here, there's a number of aspects available through this. Now, I personally have done a webinar on each little piece of this tool and broken it up. So those are viewable either on our YouTube channel or are accessible through our guides and our information on Illinois WorkNet. Under Optimal Resume, at the top of the customer's profile, we have information about their private information. And if you look, this Assessments tab, let me get my pointer out here. This Assessments tab is where we just had all of those other assessments. Right next to that is the Optimal Resume tab. Within that Optimal Resume tab is all of the information that the customer has done on Illinois WorkNet. If you were to give your customer an assignment, for example, go in and fill in the assessments tool on Optimal Resume. You can go to their profile, go to the Optimal Resume tab, and then look to see, did they add an accomplishment in the assessment? Then if you want to look to see what they did with that, all you have to do is click on the web right there, and we'll take you straight to show you what they did with that. Now, if they've written a cover letter, you can see an RTF version, you can see a PDF version. If those things are available, one of the things with the RTF is you can actually edit that for them or help them by accessing it and editing it. I can't say that word, editing it. So I love Optimal Resume. I think it is just a marvelous resume tool. We have done some very basic resumes in there, so there are samples. As I said, I have webinars on file about each aspect of the Resume Builder tool, so please review those and see if they can help you with your customers and resumes. All right, we have a set of links here for all of these different aspects. If you want to access any of these tools, you can. They are available, and I'm going to show you live what we have available. Let me pull up another poll question here. I'm going to pull up two of them. And let's see what kind of answers we get out of here. All right, people are answering fast and furious. All right. Okay. We have several people who have viewed assessments and profile information. One person has sent a message. You've viewed some Optimal Resume information. I like this answer right here. You didn't realize that you could give the customers assignments and follow up on their progress. That's one of the best features there. You can use that too on the Employment 101. Say, okay, I want you to complete this section, and then go see if they actually did it. So that's a really good tool there. Let's go to the last slide. This is just contact us. If you need to be in touch with us, we do check our emails every day, every business day, I guess I should say. Let me get a screen share pod up, and I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to go live here and show you what we have going on. So I'm on my dashboard here. And I'm just going to go through this real quick just so that you can see it live and so that it's here in the recording for posterity's sake. from my dashboard, which means I logged in and I clicked on the top bar and went to dashboard. So that's what this screen is right here. As a customer, I can go in and see my assessments, the ones that I've done, so you can guide your customers to these assessments by clicking there. They can see what they did on all of these items. From Partner Tools, you can scroll to the Customer Groups, Customer Support Center. If you have access to any special programs like this EPIC program, this will also be in your Partner Tools. But you will see the Customer Groups and Customer Support Center right here. I happen to have access to all the states, so this is a little bit different. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually search me. So I'm going to search my information because I have taken all of these tests. So I go to my profile, and I could probably find me in a group, but I'm going to find me this way. Then I get my customer group, my profile from my customer group showing up on the screen here. And when I go to my assessments, I see all of this information. This looks very similar. If you're in a special program like the EPIC program, this shows up in that actual file. But if you have other customers that are not with a special program, you would see this from that group. You would see the exact same thing here. So this is what we call global WorkNet. So under the assessments, I have my skills and interests. I click on this. It takes me to the CIS where I can see the different information. On Employment 101, I have the information here. I'm making this a little bit bigger. I have the information of, I tanked my pretest on purpose, folks. So then I can click on this document here that says Employment 101 Guide Plans, and it takes me out to my plan. What did I enter in here so that I can actually work through this and say, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. You can do SMART goals. What did they set up? Do they have a goal? Have you achieved goals in the notes? And then the job search organizer. Where has your customer looked for a job? What was associated with that? So that's a lot of information there. For the NOCTI results, you can click on the number, and it brings up the results so that you can see what area still needs help, just like we looked at earlier in the PowerPoint. Observational evaluations, you can see the results of the evaluation here. Of course, I scored myself high on this one. And then if I go down to the next section, which is the Worksite Evaluation, I have this listed in here, and you can see new evaluations as you go through. And then under the Enter More Assessments, I've got a tape score here. You can see just a block of information. And then again, on the Optimal Resume, it's all right here. If I need to reset the password, I just click it here. If I need to send the customer a message, I just click it here. So this is some great information that's available for you. Let me, my mouse just acted up. Let me minimize my screen here. And if you happen to have any questions about any of the assessments, I'm happy to answer those for you. We do need you to stay on topic about the assessments. And again, all of the files are here in the download and print section. And I don't know anything about American Job Center Mirage. Please don't ask any questions about that. All right. We have some people filling out the questions there. We will be posting this webinar and the related items. Oh, I did forget to show you one piece. Let me pull my screen back up. I want to show you how to access the information on here. So I'm going to come back to the main page. At the very bottom of every page in the footer is Partner Resources. And from the menu, if you click the menu and click on Assessments, you have access to all of these documents that we just spoke about. On the right-hand side are all of the guides. So if you're watching the recording, you can access this here. And if you do lose your link or your document, you can always access information here. We have recordings of different items. So please take a look at all of our resources for partners. There's information about the Customer Support Center, outreach tools that you can use, all sorts of different information available to you. And it's all free as a WorkNet partner. All right. So thank you for your time and attention today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend and a wonderful spring. We'll talk again soon. Bye now.